presented by Exquisite Timepieces. More about them in the description down below and later in the video. Bell & Ross are a relatively young brand known for making pilots, divers, and racing sports watches, and amongst their lineup, the BR03 diver is one of my favorites. And while they make several great watches at $4,000 and even a bit lower, they also produce some higher-end timepieces and hot horology options going up to $40,000 and well above. What's up, everyone? I'm Guy from Just Bluefish Watch Reviews, and today we're looking at a couple of Bell & Ross models that span a wide price range. And we're talking about the brand in general a little bit because I really like some of their watches, and they don't receive nearly enough attention here on YouTube. But before we get into these watches and a little bit about the brand, I want to give a quick thank you to my video sponsor, Exquisite Timepieces, for loaning me these watches for the review. This video is presented in partnership with Exquisite Timepieces, located in Naples, Florida. Exquisite is an authorized dealer of dozens of watch brands, including Seiko and Grand Seiko, Omega, Oris, Blancpain, Breguet, and many more. Exquisite also has an amazing selection of pre-owned watches with new inventory coming in daily. So if you're looking for your next watch, check their website, exquisitetimepieces.com, or call their store at 239-227-2932, and let them know that you heard about them from Guy and the Just Bluefish channel. I can't recommend them enough. Founded in 1993, Bell & Ross is a French watch company with manufacturing located in Switzerland, and from the beginning, the brand and the team of designers and aeronautical specialists joined forces with one thing in mind: creating timepieces perfectly suited for professional use. Bell & Ross watches meet four basic principles: legibility, functionality, reliability, and precision. Now, a lot of their watches focus on dial and watch face designs based around the manufacturing philosophies of aircraft instrument panels, and they are both extremely cool looking, at least in my opinion, and they are incredibly legible. And if I'm going to be honest, they have actually done a decent job at sticking to the basic principle of legibility, even on some of their more complicated creations, like this BR05 skeleton in 18-karat rose gold. Now, despite being a gold-on-gold watch face with a skeletonized dial, it is still reasonably legible, at least relative to other skeletonized dial gold watches that I've looked at in the past. Some watches with similar designs, I gotta be honest, they're downright impossible to read. And this one, it's really not too bad. That said, for my money, I gravitate more towards their traditional sports watch models. I absolutely love the BR03 diver models like this one in a matte black ceramic case. And I have no doubt some people are going to say that the dial looks like a Seiko dial. And sure, I mean, it is a diver after all, and a lot of divers have very similar dials. But that's part of the reason that I personally absolutely love divers. It's a clean, utilitarian tool watch design that I think never goes out of style. And I'm also a really big fan of square watches. From my all-time favorite Casio G-Shock square watches to things like the Cartier Tank, there's just something about square watches that really appeals to me. I'm not sure if it's as timeless of a design in the same way that dive watches are, but these square watches are nonetheless some of the coolest watches in my book. Now, as far as Bell & Ross is concerned, yes, they do have a lot of competition. Not the least of which is brands like Tudor and even Omega, which have dive watches that come in at fairly similar prices. And if you asked me if I would pick one of their BR03 divers over something like a Tudor or an Omega, the answer would be maybe not. But I would certainly have one in addition to those watches in my collection. I mean, most of us are watch collectors after all, and I doubt that many people watching this video are looking for their one and only watch. I know I have more than a couple watches in my collection, and I could definitely see adding one of these divers to that collection. But what about this BR05 with skeletonized dial and 18-karat rose gold for nearly $25,000, or closer to $40,000 if you want the model on gold bracelet? Look, obviously I'm not the target audience for a watch like this. It's well beyond my price range, and that price range is actually just the tip of the iceberg. Bell & Ross has tourbillon watches that top $150,000 and higher. And some people are going to argue that it's not worth the price. I'm not entirely sure that I agree with that sentiment. I mean, on one hand, it's not worth it to me right now, but that's only because I can't realistically afford it. If I could afford to buy any and all of the watches that I wanted, and if spending $25,000 or $40,000 on a watch wouldn't affect my day-to-day financial situation in any way, my perspective on that would change dramatically. I think that when someone is the type of collector that can shop for high-end watches and doesn't flinch at the price, they look at things beyond the sum of the mechanical parts. It's more about how it makes you feel, if the design and the style excite you, and frankly, if you just want it. That matters most of all. It kind of reminds me of someone that asked me a question on why I would buy a guitar that is nearly the same as another one that I own. My answer was pretty simple: because I wanted it. It didn't matter to me if it was similar to something that I already had, and it certainly didn't matter if there was something out there that other people thought was a better bang for the buck. I like what I like, and when I'm spending my money, I buy what I like, regardless of what other people think. So I think the whole quote-unquote "it isn't worth it" argument is a little bit of a fallacy. I mean, a lot like beauty, value is also in the eye of the beholder, and I'm not here to judge what people like. I'm just here to show you guys watches that I think are cool and hopefully offer a few minutes of entertainment and information along the way. Now, speaking of information, as far as the features and the specifications on these watches, I'm not going to get too deep into it in this video. I have reviewed the BR03 diver in the past, so feel free to go back and watch that original video. But suffice to say, it's a 43mm black ceramic 300-meter diver on a rubber strap with a BR caliber 302 automatic Solida SW300 base movement. It has all of your typical features like an anti-reflective sapphire crystal, ceramic elapsed time bezel, and super luminova glow-in-the-dark lume for superior low-light visibility and readability. And as for this BR05, it is an 18-karat rose gold cased watch with 100 meters of water resistance, and this version rides on a rubber strap that is actually quite nice. But like I already mentioned, it's also available on a matching 18-karat gold bracelet as well. It uses the BR caliber 322 automatic movement with similar specs to the 302 that's used in the dive watch, but it has 18-karat rose gold appointments. Now, the fit and finish on this watch is absolutely fantastic, with satin brushed case flanks and high polished beveled and chamfered edges on the case and the bezel, and the screw down crown on the 3 o'clock side of the case is recessed and protected by crown guards, similar to the more dive watch focused models. And like I said, the rubber strap on this model, it is great, with a nice vertical textured pattern. But like most rubber straps, it is a little bit of a lint magnet, so be prepared to give it a rinse once in a while. The signed 18-karat rose gold clasp matches the watch case with a satin brushed finish and polished beveled edges. And it has a dual trigger deployment mechanism with a clean, crisp lockup once closed. Now, these are just a couple of the great watches from a brand that has a catalog full of watches that I really like, and I do hope to do some videos on their pilots and chronograph models in the near future, so do me a favor, let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see those watches here on the channel, and I'll try to get a hold of the ones that you guys want to see the most. With all of that said, I'm going to wrap this one up for today and say thanks for watching, I greatly appreciate it, and of course, thanks to Exquisite Timepieces for loaning me these watches for the video.